I am here. I am late. I am late. It is showtime. How did I get late? I am late. Well, not really, because nobody ain't here. Nobody is here yet. One person. You look at me, I'm wrong thing. I'm late. I am late. Let me make sure I got everything closed. Oh, I know what else I need. I'm really ready, aren't I? Hey, Warm Strong. Hey, Tasha. Tasha, you going to get me in trouble. You know I don't care, right? I told you, girl, I got your back. You got to worry about me. Hey, Erie Frog, my bestie is here. I was like 2 minutes late. Even Warm Strong probably beat me here. I got 4 people in the house. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna wait about 5 minutes to start. But how's everybody afternoon? God, I just seen all y'all a little while ago. It's like 4:18, so we'll start about 4:20, 4:21. We're gonna get this, and then if anybody miss anything, guess what? They can rewatch it. Tasha, how did your little visit went today? Oh, you go back Thursday. I just remembered. I am an angel. Because I'm not. I'm not. I told you we got each other, girl. You ain't got to worry about me. I can tell you that. Oh, you ain't got to worry about me. Oh, because I got here 2 minutes late. I explain that one to you later, honey. But you know how that goes. Showtime is not. I need to close this because I'll be looking over here the whole time. Um, Yeah, I'm just gonna wait. We got about 5 people here, so I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes to get this started. And we did number 1, episode 1, but I jumped to 3 because 1 and 2 had a lot of the same things. So I'm gonna kind of go back over that y'all gonna let me tear this paper the wrong way. Or we all gonna be looking stupid. Hey, Devil Dog. Hey, I think Devil Dog was here last week. Welcome back. Yeah, Devil Dog, I'm gonna start in about a minute or two, and I gotta get my Nightbot too. I want that neat little stuff, but some people been doing it on own, so I know I can do it. I'll mess it up for sure, but yeah, Devil Dog, it's been a little while. Because I think I used to see you over to Shane, Great Farmer, a lot. I still go over, just not as much. I know. That's why I said it. I ain't slow. Hey, Steve. Steve from the 50s too. Checking in peace and blessings. Yep, the 50s. Yep. Born in Florida, raised in Florida, and never lived anywhere else really. If I went anywhere, I always went and came back home. There's only one place. Well, yeah, I always stayed in Florida. I just thought about that. We got 8 people in here. What time is it? 8:21. I'll wait about one more minute, then we're gonna get started. I'm actually getting kind of tired. No, I've had a great day. I came on live about 8 o'clock and stayed on live. Did I stay 2 or 3 hours? I can't even remember. I think it was 3. I think it was 3 hours I stayed on, and I kept a pretty good crowd, Devil Dog. So I should be tired of talking. That's what I should be doing. And what I'm gonna do is Um, go ahead and get started. I know Warmstrong is a moderator, so kind of keep your eyes open. Hey, Wandering Watto. Because sometimes, even though I put the subscribe thing on, sometimes people come in. I was surprised last week that, no trolls. So we'll pray that it doesn't, because it's about my life, and I don't see why anybody would worry about my wife, my life, and how I'm just sharing. Okay. So I'm going to kind of go back over last week, some pointers that I missed. Um, Side eye. Okay. um, hey Kim. Hi. I hope I don't miss anybody in the chat as I get to talking. But I was born in the mid 50s in December the 10th in a two-story house. Um, we weren't allowed to go in the hospitals at that time. So if you had a baby, it was attended by usually a black midwife, but there was a Dr. Baldwin that delivered me. So I never asked my mom if he was African American or white. I guess I could pull up the history and see. I guess if it really interests me. But I came into a segregated world. And a lot of people ask me a lot of how I felt, what did it feel like? But always remember, when you're born into something, it feels normal for children. And this is how I look at it from a child's eyes. I don't want to look at it from an adult eyes. I want to remember it just how it was when I was coming up. Because, like I said, I was born into a segregated world. My mom said when I was delivered, I wasn't breathing. I didn't have a stitch of hair on my head. And I was born in my sack. They called it the veil. I talked about that a little bit, I think, last week. Born in a veil, not breathing. That's just a sack, I guess. Old people. And she said the whole room had to be quiet because I don't know if anybody that was born in the South, they talk about children, and I know quite a few people I know had the same thing talked about the veil over their face. And everybody in the room has to be quiet. I don't know if it's like they think it's life in it or whatever. And everybody, they had to be quiet, and they pulled the veil off over, my face. And these are kids that's supposed to have some kind of psychic ability, or I don't know if it's for the future, the past, or whatever. But I know other people said the same thing, and they were born with that. And people always said they had special abilities. And thanks everybody for coming. And I hope I don't miss anybody. And you know what? I was a fighter, even when I was born. I always say that. I was a feisty little girl from the beginning. When my mom pushed me out, I wasn't breathing, and I'm sure crying. And I was I was a difficult child. Okay. And you don't change that much is what I tell people. You hopefully we all change for the better. And when I was born, I was surrounded by black owned businesses. Um, there was a railroad station. I can remember there was a barbecue stand, Harvey's Barbecue. There were convenience stores, liquor stores. We had a lot of we had guava trees. This was in West Palm Beach. We could just go outside, pick guavas and everything. We had a lot surrounding us. So it wasn't like as children we missed anything. Okay. And also inside my grandma home, it was, hey, Fluff, it was generational living. So I stayed, it was a big house. It was a two-story house, looked more like a rooming house with a lot of rooms, and probably wasn't as big as I thought because I was little, but it was a big house. And I stayed there with my older sister, my mom, so that was three. My grandma, my granddad, that was five. And then my auntie, that was, this is what I know of. It could have been more. It was six with my auntie. She had two children. That was eight children in that house. So that was the norm, generational living. Everybody took care of each other. My uncle stayed in a house right behind the big house, and his family stayed there. And my grandfather ran a fish market right on the side of that house. Okay. So, and that's why I tell people we really, as children, we didn't miss anything. We just, that was the norm for us. Um, and a lot of people ask me, well, how did you feel? Well, as children, I'm going to say again that I was born into segregation. So, that was the norm for me. And then once I moved out, well, once my mom moved out, she sued the light company because her husband, Jay, got electrocuted on the power line because they would hire the Negro men to cut the trees back away from the wire, the power. So that was the dangerous job. So she ended up suing the power company, and she ended up buying a home mortgage. She paid everything off, and I still had to be a little. I had to be 3 or 4 years old. Um, and we didn't call her by her as mama. We called my grandma mama. Everybody in the house, and we called our moms by their first name. And I called my mom for years. I'm gonna say Jean for years, until later her best friend kind of shamed us, and we started calling her by call her mama. And by that time my grandma had passed. So she my grandma died October, I would say 57, had to be 57. And how she died was, it could have been cured, but a lot of old people, they didn't wander out to the hospital or anything. She stuck a nail in her feet. So tetanus. So she ended up dying because she waited a while before she went to the hospital, and she ended up dying because of a nail in her feet, is what it was. Um, Also, too, I didn't talk about the boundaries the last time. If anybody got any questions, I'm still trying to look in the chat, but then trying to think and everything. But I see everybody's, talking amongst themselves. Thanks, Geeky Girl, for coming. I didn't talk last time about the boundaries. There was a railroad track straight down. I stayed in Riviera Beach, Florida, and even in West Palm Beach, there was a railroad track straight down. We knew it wasn't even spoken, but we knew that we were not going to go across that railroad track after dark, because that is where the white people stayed. So we knew we weren't allowed across that railroad track at night. It was just something known. I don't know. It's just, I can't remember my mom ever saying don't cross the railroad track at night. I don't know where, but I know that was the boundary. So once you came across that railroad track during the day, you couldn't go back at night. And what was weird was we had a drive-in movie that we went to, and but it was before you got to the railroad track, and then there was a fish market just before the railroad track, but then there was the railroad track. Okay. But if I wanted to go to the library was across the railroad track. But I could only go to the library during the daytime. I'm sure libraries didn't open up at nighttime. Most businesses closed early. You know, convenience stores stayed open around the clock, but most other businesses stayed early. I'm going to say closed early. Um, what else I want to say? Oh, as kids too, Geeky Girl, I think this is good for you. We really didn't watch a lot of TV. Because if we weren't at school and we didn't have any chores in the house, we were outside. And two, we only had three channels on the TV. So we were, I guess I could pull this back. Yeah. We were outside all the time, and a lot of people say until the lights came on, we were in way before the lights. I could tell you that. It wasn't you gonna run maybe somewhere else or later years. Maybe that was true. And that's why I say everybody have their own story. But we were in the house before night. We ate dinner together every night. Okay, every night. I don't know a night we didn't eat dinner. And like I said, it was always a meat, there was always a starch, there was always bread. I know on Friday night we did have fish a lot. I can remember that, but fish was good. Fried fish and grits. I'll take some today if somebody gave it to me. But I never growing up, I never had pork and beans because my mom grew up on those and she refused to buy them. She would never buy it. Was I know it was that. It was something else she wouldn't buy. We never had Vienna sausages ever. So see, everything goes back to the childhood. And we only had, like I say, three stations. They did not stay on 24 hours. Didn't seem like TV didn't start staying on to 24 hours to not CNN. It wasn't CNN. It was God, I can't think. He was married to Jane Fonda. I can't remember that news channel that was on 24 hours is what it was. Um Trying to think what a lot of people ask about fast food. Um we really didn't, like I said, we couldn't go to McDonald's, Burger King, or any of those. People asked me, did I miss it? I can remember asking my mom once about can we go. I remember her leaving because she was a maid, and she was leaving her house. Well, we were leaving the Miss Peace house, who she worked for, and we always had to pass by McDonald's because I used to go with mom so I could read the books in Miss Peace's son room. And she said, no, we can't go there because they make you go around to the back. So you just didn't question. When older people said something, that was just gospel. So there was no, believe me, there was no back talking. And it wasn't because we were like puppets. Sometimes I think people think we're like puppets. It was just, at that time that we lived in. Oh, you know what I want to talk about too? The beach. I didn't talk about that last time, I don't think. We had separate beaches. There is Singer Island in Riviera Beach, Florida. Blacks could not go to that beach. That beach was close, but Jupiter Beach was farther out. But get this, Jupiter Beach was a nicer beach. We had two sides to our beaches. So that was, we had where we could go picnic. They make ice cream. Then when we got tired of eating or whatever, then you go back over to the beach. So really that beach, we lived at the beach though. At Jupiter, it was farther out, but yeah, it was a form of respect. You just, all the kids were, if your mom didn't get you, somebody else would. And like I said, Kiki girl, a lot of people think we were spanked a lot, but we weren't. Of course, some parents I'm sure was abusive, but my mom wasn't. But I can tell you, it wasn't like people think that we got hit all the time. We really didn't. So they could just throw that out the out the window. We just knew what to do not to get in trouble. We talked about the beach. Oh, and we walked a lot. We walked a lot. And I talked about that. You didn't really see that many people overweight. You really didn't. One or two. I can remember this girl named Pinky. I ain't gonna say her last name because she might be still alive. She was heavy, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe one or two people was heavy at that time. Maybe like older women. I would say Caucasian women stayed really thin. They were saying because of smoking, is that's what kept them thin. Also, if you were pregnant, get this, geeky girl. Anybody else came in? You could only gain 25 pounds when you were pregnant. 25, that's it. And those women listened to them doctors. But what happened was the babies was coming too small. So that's why they upped the weight. My mom, she stuck at them 20 some pounds. So you didn't have any weight to lose after you had the baby. So that was one thing. And also, we didn't have city water either. We had pump water. Now I don't know what the whites had, and I'm sure probably at that time they probably had the same thing, but our water came out of a pump. Okay. And we had a septic tank in the backyard. So and I know that's what everybody did. And really, they didn't start putting in the city water until 1970, when they started putting in the, in the African American community. I don't know what they did with the other section of town, but it was in the 70s before about. So see, that wasn't even that far back when you think about it. So also too, um I never talked about this either. They used to come, white people used to come and give us shots in school. I guess they were nurses, I don't know. And I asked a white counterpart that was my age, did that ever happen to her? She said no. So I'm like, well, what shot did they give us? But I think it was smallpox. I don't, trying to see. It's on his arm. You can kind of see it a little bit right up there. I think it was smallpox. Because it's flattened out over the years. And that's why I say with history books, I don't know sometimes. I know that it says some things, but honestly, I don't know about history books. Like I say, our graduation rates was a lot higher. But then when I look in books now, they say that it got higher after we got in. I'm like, so I don't know if it's done that. Oh, another thing we did before I start the video is and I'm gonna talk about it in the next video. Mosquito trucks used to run, come through the neighborhood, and all that spray is just coming. They putting, as kids, we used to run in behind those trucks. I said, oh God, I hope I didn't run too close. And all our roads were dirt roads, is what they was. This is why I like talking to. I know, and ask as many questions, and even if you can get them, no matter what color you are, if you can get their voices taped, that would be great for your children and their children. And a lot of time, older people, you would ask them questions, but they wouldn't want to answer them. Okay, so you have to respect that. If they don't want, because my mom wouldn't answer a lot of questions, because sometimes, like I say, it was for the protection of someone else, because it could mean their lives. I got more out of my grandma than I got out of my mom. And that wasn't her mom, it was my stepdad's mom, which I was really close to. So I used to sit on the porch. I was a nosy little thing and ask her for hours and hours. She even told me, my grandma, she died when she was about 90 years old, 90 something, but that's been years back. And I had to be 13, 14. I might have been older than that. I was older than that, I know. And I asked her, I don't know how she was a midwife too. Yeah, she was a midwife. She had the book where she birthed all the kids she had. And the sad part is those were legal records. But what people would do in the Bibles, they had all your births in there. People would not treat them that way. They would find their birth and they would rip the page out of it. A legal document just destroyed. Okay, so my mom never could find her birth certificate. So she might have been the age she was. She, might have not been. She said, my mom, we always call her G. But her birth name, she said, was Eunice. And then I said, well, how did they start calling you Jean? And then she said, I don't know. She said one day she went to school and they just started calling her Jean. So, and that's why I say a lot of records that they have, you want to believe it, but sometimes they're just not. And even when they did the census, think about this. When they came in to do the census, and then they would send, and I know I keep saying white people, I don't know what else to say, they would send them in, and they would spell the names incorrectly. I don't know if it was by, if they meant to do it or just didn't know. And then sometimes they couldn't tell everybody that stayed in the household. So you're not going to have all the accurate information as much as you think. But what's neat is you can look in a census book and all the families stayed pretty well close together. Thanks, Mercy. They stayed pretty well close together. Okay, so when you do look at the history, and you look back, always look at the census and look at the last names. And because I looked at it a lot, let me tell you, till my eyeballs popped out. And now my brother does it. And that's how I got all the pictures of the family, really from him researching it. Because he wasn't interested at first when I was interested. Now he's more interested in me. But it takes a lot of work. But remember, all those families stayed close together. Another thing I want you to remember too, they were marrying cousins. Okay. I think that my grandma and my granddad was cousins. Now I don't know how close or whatever. I think I'm pretty sure they were cousins. Okay. So I don't know how close it was, but it was, whether you were white, green, blue, or black, they married cousins at that time. Now I don't know what the distance was in between, but and also my great grandfather Thomas, his last name was Schuler. So I'm always thinking Schuler as being German. you know? So and also, and it might be because my great grandparents were mulattoes. Okay, so that was mixed with something. We always think white and black, but it could be white black, it could be black and Indian, it could be black and German, black and England. So we don't know what we're mixed up with. And I remember on a census, I had Aunt Bessie, who I never met. They went up to the door, and the census had put white on there, but you could see somebody must have corrected them because you could see a M right on top of that. So she had to look really white, is what it is. And honestly, if you see my hair underneath, you'll know I'm mixed with something. Somebody was getting in the bedroom. So yeah, you could say Caucasian because somebody might take it the wrong way. Okay, I'll say Caucasians. Thank you so much for that, Steve, because I don't want anybody to take it any way wrong, you know. So, but I can say before I start saying that, that is what we said, on that. So honestly, my grandma them, they went because they stopped calling them mulattoes. I don't know what year it was. Mulattoes, then they went to Negroes, then they went to black, and then African American was the last part. A lot of people still call themselves black. I call myself African American. If somebody called me black, I'm not offended. You call me a Negro, I'm offended. I just, I think that's just a learning lesson. I don't know if another African American or black feels the same way, but I just don't like to be called a Negro. So what I'm going to do, if anybody don't have any questions, what I'm going to do is start the video. And what I'm going to do is start and stop it. I think that was all my notes from before because I tried to be, a little bit more than what I was last week of But I'm going to start the video. I talked a little bit last week too about the 1970 when we were integrated. I don't know when Steve started school or if he's younger than me, but I was the first class to be integrated where I stayed in the county in Riviera Beach, Florida. So there's a lot of history in that. Even with and I didn't talk about that either. Even when they have class reunions, I never want to go. I never want. Now, I personally, I guess that had to come after I was 18 or whatever. I never wanted to go because I never felt really part of it because it was still separate. Even when I graduated, it might have been better, but I never ever wanted to go to my class reunion. We didn't go to prom. Some people went to prom. I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to my graduation either. I just went and picked up my diploma because I just felt so at that time separate. Then you can feel I felt it more at 18. When I went to school, because we definitely was separate. It was not together. And you have to remember we were forced to, both sides was forced into it. I think that African American, well, the Negro teachers wanted a little bit more because I guess they thought we were getting the used books, secondhand education, but we were getting the best education. And I believe on both sides. I really do because the parents really um they really worked with the teachers and we knew that if we didn't follow whatever, we knew what we was going to get when we got home. So honestly, even after we got integrated, I can say the educational system at that time was good. Okay. For me, anyway. I guess other people can say maybe they didn't feel the same way and they might not. Maybe I got something that somebody else didn't get. Okay. I'm sure we were slighted in some way, but I didn't feel it on the education end. And I think we only had to get like 12 credits to graduate. 12 credits. We didn't have to get a, but it was enough to send, to go to college. And that's why I say now the majority of people that graduate did go to college. But the only way they didn't go if the family didn't have the money. I think that's what stopped my husband. 1958. Okay. Okay, 58. And I'm a little bit older than you. But yeah. But I'm going to go ahead, start this video. And like I said, I'm going to start and stop it like I did last week. And let me go ahead and put this up here. Anybody got any questions before I start this? Lord, I don't want to remove it. I want to put it in here. I want to put it in here. I don't want that one. I want that one. Okay, let me go over here. Get it started. The last time I ended with kids running behind the mosquito truck spraying. Talked about me not being able to go to McDonald's or Burger King. We had home cooked meals. And I was even thinking that's why we're so healthy. I said that in my other video. Just thinking we were eating all that junk then. I'd probably be dead. We're pretty healthy though. My generation, I cook quite a bit for my sons, but they did get a lot of fast food stuff. But what my mom did, because she had to work a second job sometimes, she would they came out with those frozen dinners and they would be in those heavy full plates and then you put them in the oven and cook them forever. She had no choice when she was working a second job, but I was a pretty good big girl by that time, 11, 12, something like that. But she didn't, and then we usually get like a frozen pie. That was as I was older in that. But we were healthy. That's one thing I could say. Did we go to the doctor all the time? Not that I can remember. Not like how kids go now. Um, But my mom made sure we went to the dentist. I always remember that. We started off with Negro dentists, then we ended up with white dentists as I got older. So she knew how important that was. Like they also knew how important education was, and they were right on top of that. And I think my generation, we missed the ball on that. I think we got a little too materialistic and we got away from the schooling. But okay, let me get back to my life. Also, what we did, we were really fortunate little girls, me and my sister. We used to fly on Mackey Airlines. I don't know who bought them out. And we would go to West End, Bahamas. We would be on planes with white people. I remember that because I had a black baby doll. You had those walk with me big dolls, and she was asking me, did I like my dolls? And I always remember, my sister always remembered, I said I like my black doll or Negro doll or whatever I said. But I knew we did when we did those flights.
You know what? I forgot about, that part. That brings up, we had such great times. We used to go to West End Grand Bahamas on Mackey Airline. My mom used to get sick every time we would get on the plane. She had a boyfriend over there, Prince Adderley, and a daughter. And we used to have, I don't know if I got anybody that have Allen upbringing, but we used to have in December at Christmas time, we go over there, Junganoo Parade. They would dance from one end of the island all the way to the next. Oh my God. And then I know I'm going to talk about, I would wake up as a little girl. I had to be 5 years old, I know. And you would smell bread cooking. Oh my God, I can remember that. I can remember oh, they used to dry fish in the trees and eat it, but then flies would just cover it. I can remember that. I don't know if we ate it. And then from the village, get this, we stayed in the village. Okay, there was a hotel, and of course, we couldn't stay in that, but just think the people I got to live with the people and got to know their culture. And just think if I stayed in a hotel, I didn't miss anything. Just think about that. And then I could walk from the village and the beach would be right in front of us. But get this beach, and I just thought about it because Leanne was on a beach kind of like this. It will cut your feet because it had nothing but conch shells and just all broken up, and you would get your feet cut. But we had oh my God, that brings a smile to almost like a crying tears to my eyes. But we went over there a lot until my mom got a little religious. And then she stopped going. She also got pregnant. She had a miscarriage. I remember that. But we went, and that was rare for us to, for Negroes to even go over there. It was rare. So we were fortunate little girls. My mom was way ahead of her time. She educated us a lot. She talked about the racial history a lot. If I say things maybe what she says, probably get, disagreed a lot in here. But I'll save that part for another time. But she educated us a lot about it. And I just, yeah, those were good times. I'm gonna start the thing back before I start crying. But yeah, those and Lurleen, his daughter, was like our sister. I wonder if she alive still. The last time I went was at 18. So I have no idea. He's probably past Prince Adderley. Who knows? But he would be old now. But his daughter would be older than me. I know she was like a teenager when I was a little girl. So okay, we're gonna go back over here again.
We did go with it wasn't like segregated that I can remember. I can remember my mom always getting sick on the plane. I can remember that. And we went to West End, Bahamas, because my mom's boyfriend was there. Prince Adderley was his name. His daughter name was Lurleen. He only had that one daughter at that time that I know of. When we would get on the islands, no, we would not go to the hotels because we're segregated over there too now. Okay. So whites went to the hotels and we went and stayed in the village, which was a better deal when you look back at it. It really was because you got to really learn the culture. Because at the hotel, you're only going to get the people that clean and cook for you. So, you go on a tour, which you never really learn anything. But in that village, of course, there was only blacks. They had a movie theater. Sometimes it would go upside down. The film, the movie show upside down. It was like in a tin building too. I don't know why tin, but it's I can remember a tin building. We were right near the ocean, and if you walked, you would get your feet cut. Um, because there was so many conch shells on there. Um, on there. We ate a lot of conch salad, a lot of conch fritters over there. And also, in that village, they also, it was a lot of little houses. I don't know why they called it village, but that's what they called it. And they didn't have running water. We had to take our baths. They were warm up water and big old foot tubs. We would take our baths in those. Also, I can remember waking up in the morning time and smelling bread cooking. Oh, it smells so good. I can remember that. They also used to put fish and dry them out, and flies would just be all around them as they're drying
We
out.
probably ate them.
I can remember that. And we did that for some years until my mom ended up changing her religion. But we did that for a long time. I don't know what happened to him. And I don't know what happened to his daughter. I'm sure if she's alive, she still think about us because she spent a lot of time. We felt like she was our sister. So, but that was one thing we got to do. We got to learn the culture. I know I'll admit, believe me. We'll discuss that on another video. But let's get back home. Also, my mom had left Miss Peace by that time and got her another job, which she was happy about. Who wants to clean up people's house all the time? You know, so you remember that movie The Help? I always think about that. I went to look at that with some white counterparts, and I just didn't like it. I just didn't. I don't think it.
Okay. The Help. I don't know how many people saw that movie, The Help. Everybody, it was like a movie a lot of people loved. Um, I went back and I looked at, I remember the movie. Okay, Rob, I have to ask you another time too. What did you think of the movie? He saw it twice, so that means you liked it, huh? No, don't let me say that. I'm answering for you. You don't even have to answer that. But I know when I first heard about that book, I wanted to read that book. It was like, oh, this is gonna be really, really good. And someone gave me the book. One of my ex-clients that I work with having babies. And I want to read you a review because I always read and write reviews. I probably read less since I became a YouTube creator. I wrote this review and I'm not going to take this probably over an hour. I might not even finish this video. We're at 44 minutes. Um okay, we're going to have to talk about that, Rob. We're going to have to really talk about that. Okay, we're going to really get together. Even we have to talk on Instagram, audio or video. But I wrote this July 16, 2011. This was after I got the book. And I was just so excited about getting this book. This is what I said. Before I received this book, I read a lot of reviews. They were outstanding, the majority of them. Oh, let me make me big again. Okay. Before I received the book, I read a lot of reviews. They were outstanding, the majority of them. I was really excited about getting the book, and I could not wait for the USPS to bring it to me. But somebody gave me that book. She might have bought it because I got USPS. It arrived really fast, so I had to have bought it then. I started reading it the same day and read 50 pages. I am not sure that I'm feeling what the majority of you are feeling at this time. The next day, I got to page 169. Okay. And okay, Jamie. And you know what? You're a little younger than me, too. You know what? So that's why I say each of us, you know, got different feelings. And that's why I say this is about Betty Gathers. Okay. So the next day I got to page 169. For some reason at this time, I'm just not connecting with it. I know that it is fiction. And I have to remember that because I lived in that time. Okay, Rob, we'll talk about it at another time. Um, for some reason, I'm not connecting with it. I know that it is fiction, and I have to remember that because I lived in that time. I'm going to complete it, and I will come back with my remarks. I gave it 3 stars because she really tried her best. I'm talking about the author, and it was her first book, and I applaud her for that. The book is not boring. Again, it is fiction. I have to separate it from my reality. Thanks, Geeky. This may be the problem because I can't separate it. I am African American and my mom was a maid. We lived in Riviera Beach, Florida, and the lady that she worked for stayed in Palm Beach Gardens. And I'm gonna say something before I go any farther with this. I noticed something even with my numbers, and this is the second time I've done this. And my numbers are always low and they tend to drop off the more I talk about it. And what happened was this happened and I don't know why. Oh, I know he's not feeling good. When I did this with Patrick, um, Have Cheetah Will View, the numbers tend to drop off. And I don't hardly get any comments. On the last video, I might have got one comment. Okay. And I always remember my yoga teacher saying, when people leave, that means they need it more than you do. Because if you ever went to a yoga class, people lay and they relax at the end and it's just quiet. And then people get up and tend to leave. And she said, those are the people that need it the most. But I said, I don't care how low the numbers on this, I'm going to do this because it's for me, it's for whoever wants to hear it. And it's my story. It's not anybody else's, you know? But I just wanted to throw that in there. But let me get back. Okay, I'm African American. My mom was a maid. We lived in Riviera Beach, Florida, and the lady that she worked for, Miss Peace, in Palm Beach Garden, Florida. I know y'all don't hear the Palm because who was that? Serena Williams stayed in Palm Beach Garden, Florida. The family had a husband, wife, and 2 sons. I don't remember. This was in this book too. I don't remember them having a separate bathroom for us. Okay. My mom took me with her sometimes. We also ate lunch at her house. Of course, not with them, but we did eat in their kitchen up at the countertop. And then this book did get me to think about that time in my life and my mom's. And I can thank the book for that because and that's what I'm saying. You can always get something good out of something. Maybe I didn't totally agree with the book because I couldn't separate it from the reality of it. Okay. For about 2 weeks, you didn't like us West Palm Beach girls. Okay. Okay. So then I say, right at this time, I'm not sure if I would recommend this to a friend. After I finish it, I was going to mail it to my sister, but I'm not sure now. Maybe that's where the mail came. I don't know. When I first saw that it was being made a movie. I was excited before I started reading the book. Hey, Trish. I'm just reading a review I did in July 2011 on the Help book, but I'm almost toward the end, but you can always, look at replay. Let's see. When I first saw it was made a movie, I was excited before I start reading the book. Now I will wait until some friends see it. I will let them tell me if it is worth seeing. I know that young African Americans will not be flocking to it. And I don't know. I don't think 18 or 19-year-olds at that time. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't see them flocking to it. I would say older Americans. It wouldn't have been an 18 or 19. Rob. Okay. Okay. I would say African American women 35 years old and up would go see the movie because we want to see, because it's part of our history. 2011, how old was I? I was older. Not as old as what I am. Okay, then I did I said it's not a male movie, but Rob, did you think it was a male movie? However, male that saw it. I said, and on 7/17/2011, I said I now have read half the book. I really wanted to stop. As I read this, and I know that it's fiction, is a white woman driving to the black area of town and go unnoticed by whites or blacks, and no repercussions from it, is what I wrote. Research. I wrote it in all caps. Believe me, this would have never happened. This is just unbelievable. I am trying to read this book to the end. However, it is getting harder and harder. And then I say, well, again, I will give you an update after I complete it. I must have hit it 2 times, but that was it. I never went back to do it, but that shows everybody is different. What was the other movie that came out? Harriet Tubman. I don't know why that was more relatable. I think it still was a soft. It was softer than what it was. Let's put it that way. But for some reason, it was more relatable. And you know why it might have been? Because that was before my time. That might have been why Harriet Tubman was more relatable, because I didn't live it. I did not live at the time of Harriet Tubman, and that might be. But I'm gonna tell you why I say this would not have happened for a white young girl to come into an African American neighborhood. And just think, we're real close, we're really connected, okay? To come in and they don't notice her, and then I'm gonna tell you my business that can get me killed. You can get killed for anything. About a book, looking at them wrong. So I'm going to tell you all this information for you to put in the book. Now, I'm going to tell you a part that is true. And I say that more in my video. They talk about the pie. And I know everybody that's in here know, if you looked at the movie, she put something in the pie. Okay? Probably going to make her a little sick if she ate it. It was a little brown pie. Okay. This is why I believe so strongly why African Americans do not eat at people's houses they do not like. Okay? And I still cannot believe that you will have people cooking for you that you do not like. You have people breastfeeding your babies you do not like. What do you think they're going to do when they get mad? They're going to use whatever they can use to hurt you. They will. Did they spit in it? Yes. I know people out there like, oh God, no. Okay. Did they cut up glasses? Yeah, they did. They did whatever they felt that they could fight back on. Was it right? Either way wasn't right. But I'm just saying that, yeah, it happened. It happened. So but I'm a let's how far are we into this? We're like 54 minutes into it. Anybody got any questions? And I hope I kind of explained that better than I did last week. I'm gonna go and try to do a little bit more because I'm not gonna take us more than an hour, and then maybe by that time you'll think of some questions. Um, and then we're gonna take it here. Oop, wrong way. Here, Andrea Lucky. That Andrea. Okay, we're
It
not
was
gonna get
good.
to see the
One
whole.
thing
But go
was
ahead.
about that pie, that what she put inside the pie. That part was true. Yep, they was spitting their food. That's what I'm saying. If you don't like somebody, why you gonna let them cook for you? That was their way of getting back. They spitting, mix stuff up in your food, cook some glass up in there. Yeah, they did it. I'm gonna tell you, they did it. But with the help, the only thing I found, and I read the book too, and I really didn't enjoy the book. The only reason I finished it because I really wanted to write a review on it. But the thing that got me the most was, and I don't think it would have, in my mind, I just want to always, in my mind, and being a Negro growing up in that time, I just can't see them telling all their business to a white girl. I just, it would never, I can't see that ever happen because they had to hide so much stuff and they had to lie. I know it's just a book, y'all, but I'm just saying, I think I took it as reality because you always press a button to somebody experience something in life. But everybody else, the majority of people seem to enjoy it. I mean, that book sold very
Millions.
well. So, anyway, my mom ended up working for Miss Helen Wolf at a nursing home. And she liked it. She really liked it. I think because she could make decisions and the lady listened to her. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But however, money was still tight. Sometimes she would still, her and my older sister would go out in the fields. They would catch the, um, the bus early in the morning. They would have to put on certain clothes because they would have to be out in the sun all day. And they would suckle tomatoes. I don't know what suckling is, but they would suckle tomatoes. And also, they had a lot of Mexicans coming in. Even at that time, they were out on the range line, is what we called it. And they will come in season and come in, and they'll have them staying just like how they do now. And they will come in at that time. And then later on, she really didn't have to do it. She would work extra shifts, is what she would do. So she worked a lot of hours. Lot of hours is what she worked. And but finally, yeah, she didn't have to work.
Okay, I think I'm gonna stop it there. But Rob, when you came along in the 70s, it was, and I'm not gonna even get into that part because that's your life story. But yeah, 70s were hard. They were really hard because that's the year that the schools in Florida got integrated. So the 70s did start a kind of different world, that we came to live in. But I'm still going to blame, we're going to look at the rest of that next week. I'm still going to blame us baby boomers a lot. We dropped the ball, Rob. We dropped the ball. Um, so I said, if you're going to get angry, you need to get angry with some of us. We went from from education being the first till we went to materialistic, and we dropped the ball. And then when we became integrated, I would say that's when we start losing the African American males in school. because they were really hard on them. Because, and then I'm going to end this with this because I don't want to really get into it, but they were really hard on them because they thought no matter how they treated them, that they weren't going to fight back. The teachers were awful. I'm going to say it. The majority, they just was awful. Okay. And I can remember the teacher tussling with some boy, and another teacher tried to break it up, and they broke his jaw. It was hell. Okay. But we made it through. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. And like I said, I don't want to bring like, you know, stuff that I truly did not feel at that time. And that's why I say I'm trying to bring it from a child's, because if I go into an adult, then we're gonna, we'll take it somewhere else after the 70s. And that's not was was what I want, because our parents and foreparents really worked hard. They worked hard. And it wasn't only, I was saying, only black women, white women work hard too. They had to do a lot that they don't do now, until women really start working and was able to take care of themselves. So they basically all had it hard. It really was. And I always kind of end this with, because people always ask me, hey, Andre, do I feel, and this is a powerful question, do I feel that it's any different from the time I was raised up to now? People ask me that all the time. Even before Trump, they ask me that all the time. And I'm going to tell you something my mama told me. And I never seen the Klan. I stayed in the South. Never seen the burning of the cross. Okay. But my mom said the Klan went from the hood to the bow tie. So they still had a lot of power when you went to work, when you went to the doctor, when you went wherever, So it's a lot of history. And I'm telling you, even if you're white, Caucasian, you're black, you're Indians, even Indians have a great story to tell. I mean, they were pushed over. Sometimes I think the Indians are forgotten. They took all their land, and here they stand over in some God forbidden place that they don't want to stay. And now they're taking that away. So sometimes we forget even about the Indians. And I know they say we forget about them too, because we're all fighting for that. But do I think I'll see a change before I die? No. Nah. And I have 10 grandchildren. 8 are biracial. 2 are all the way African Americans. I don't see anything changing, because I will tell you what I told my daughter-in-law. She's white. And I say, I hope you know that you're going to have to teach your sons that they're black. Don't be saying mixed. And I know some people won't agree with me. Don't be saying biracial. They're black, because that's how they're going to be treated. You got all this kinky hair on your head. You might have white skin. You got the broad nose. Your sons are black. Now, if you take it any other way, I don't know what to tell you. My granddaughter, same thing. Cute little thing, but you black. So it is. It's a world that we live in, and I wish it wasn't. But we all need to learn. Am I angry? I'm not angry. I'm really not, Rob. I'm not angry. It's the life that I was given. And we all have a path in this life to take. And we're gonna make it. And one day, I know it's gonna get better. Everything is temporary in this life. Always remember that. Everything is temporary in this life. After the rain, there's always a rainbow. Always. Anybody got any questions? Because I don't want to just keep digging and trying to find other stuff. Anybody got a video? Anybody got anything they want to share? Any questions? Rob, we have to talk about that one later. Oh, Rob, you made me forget something. Almost forget. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I got 8 people watching, and I want y'all to remember this. I want y'all Google everything else. You gonna Google this. Okay. Somebody came in last week, and this is all about education. I almost forgot because I didn't notate it. And I'm really not going to talk about it next week. I'm gonna wait until after my finale to talk about it. But I don't know if all of you, I know you do, about blackface. Remember how it started like in 1860? It might have been early. It was like the end, about the end of slavery time or whatever. And somebody put in there, and also England. England was England in America. The blackface, they love the blackface. Okay. And then in England, think they called it black and white minstrel. Look that up. I want you to look it up. Blackface, where it came from, where it originated from. What else? Did black people be in there? Negroes? Were they in those minstrels with blackface? I really want you to educate yourself on that. Educate yourself on that, because we're gonna talk about that. We're not talking about it next week. We're not talking about the weekend, but we're gonna talk about that. And we're not going to even take it. Yeah, those ministers. We're not going to, Rob, we're not going to even take it to the negative. We're going to take it as an educational process, because it's a lot of stuff I need to learn on that. I don't want to take it to so you're going to help me, Rob. We're going to keep it in the middle, and we're going to educate each other on that. Okay. So, yeah, educate yourself. And I just think a lot of people, I think, was it Al Jolson? It was one of them, but it was a lot of them because they loved it. They loved it. It made money. Oh, even at the White House. It played at the White House. It sure did. Yep. So, and that was just around that time, the ending of slavery. So, and then you can even, do you know, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, do you know that people, the slavery in 18 something, do you know people up in Georgia, Carolina was still enslaved? People didn't even know slavery was over. 1970 something. That's why I say you need to read the history books. You need to read it. So, okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm just so happy the 8 people that stay with me, because I want to tell my story. This is for you, and especially for me and for my grandchildren. I want them to have something verbal, is what it is. And also, that's what all of you need to do. Rob, you need to be making up a book with all your family members in it. Each one of I have one grandchild that took me a year to make that book. Now I want to make a book for each family to have. Now, when they're little, it's not important to them. But when they get to be grown, they're going to want to know how great grandmama looked. They're going to want to know how great, they're going to want to know their names. When I got to know y'all know when I got to know my great grandmama name, I had to be 50 something. 50 something. Her name was Mary. Okay. My great grandfather's name was Thomas. I didn't know that. I asked my mom that. And when you get the names, they become reality. They're human beings. And then people say, forget it. How can I forget it? Now I'm going to bring a tear to my eye. I'm not even taking myself there. But how can I forget it? They were my family. They are my family. And I want you too to remember, Rob, that, and all of you, that if it was not, so you can't get mad with people that's not of color, all, because if it had not been for some of them, we would have been dead. we wouldn't have never existed. They kept the records. Some of them kept the records for us. So you have to remember that just because they aren't of color, they saved our lives. A lot of them saved our lives. And I really believe some will give up their lives for us today. And they already shown that. Yes, some won't. Heck, I won't give up for some people. Okay, well, that's great. But yeah, and we have to remember that, Rob, that they saved our lives. Some of them did. If it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't even be here. Yes, we were enslaved, brutalized, and people try to make it look like we loved it. But yeah. But okay, it's an hour, 10 minutes. It's enough of that. Because if I talk about too much negative, ain't nobody gonna come back next week. But I did, and anybody can look at the video or they can re-look at the live stream. I even go back and look at the live streams of these because I really want to just know if I'm pulling stuff out the air. Because basically, when you tell the truth, you hear the same thing over and over. When people lie, it kind of changes or deviates a lot. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me, but sometimes it brings back joy too, So get to remember my mom. My mom was a majorette. She won a medal. Her sister was a majorette. I mean, how can you not be happy about that? My mom graduated. My grandpa went to college. I had doctors in my family. I mean, how can you not? But yeah, pull those family trees. It's hard. And one more thing, it's hard as an African American. I want people to know this too, that's not of color. When we get to that slave wall, 1860, guess what? We don't have a name. We have a number. So how are we going to find our families and a number? Think about that. We didn't even have names. We was just property of massa whoever. So we get to the slave wall. Where do you go now? Some of us get fortunate because we get the plantations name and stuff. So I got a little fortune to be able to go a little farther back, and my brother have. But I'm telling y'all, it is the best feeling to get those names. Pictures of my grandpa. I got pictures on the thumbnail. My grandpa with his horse, my grandma, I thought she was thin. Now I know how I get big bone. My grandma was big bone. Mary Schuler was big bone. Twins running our family. We don't miss a generation. My great grandma had twins. My grandma had twins. My auntie had 2 sets of twins. Thank God I didn't catch that. My mom didn't catch it. Then my aunt's daughter had 2 sets of twins. Then her daughter had a set of twins. Isn't that nice to know all that, though? It is. Okay, I'm going to say good night and thank you. And Rob, I know I'll be talking. And Trish, did you say your birthday? Yeah, that's. Oh, really, Trish? Really? Oh, my God. I'm going to have to talk to you about that. I know another girl the same date, but I have a girl the same date, same month, same year. Yep. And we're completely different, too. Yeah, but okay, she's a December baby. Oh, okay. Mr. Nass is he become one of my faves now, y'all. He is the best. My husband and child is. Oh, okay. My goodness, we're gonna all have to get and celebrate. We're gonna have to go on a private chat, a private stream, y'all, to celebrate. That is phenomenal. It is. And all my sisters and brothers are born in December, except my oldest sister. She born in November, my mom and my stepfather November, and the rest of us are in December. Guess my mom got pregnant about the same time every year. Well, not every year. We're pretty well spaced out. See that? Trish talked about that veil over her face. They are, mama. And I'm so glad when she shared that story. You don't forget stuff like that. You that major stuff you don't. I remember her saying everybody had can't remember his birthday. Well, you need to remember it. November. Okay, my mom was November 3rd or the 4th is when my mom was. And I came along Diana Ross. See, I after jazz had just passed, and then I came along with the Beatles, Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, James Brown. See, that was my time. Ah, ah, that was that was my American Bandstand. Used to, dance to that all the time. So, yep. But like I say, no matter when or what time we live in this world, we're gonna have good times and we're gonna have bad. And we want to remember the good. We really do. We want what's right. We want people to be just. Oh yeah, my mom couldn't find her birth certificate. She could not find her brother. They were all born in Carolina. None of them could find their birth certificate. So they just had to use whatever they had been going by for years. So she wasn't sure if it was 33 or 34. And you got to remember too, some of them didn't even have the right names that was on the birth certificate. Like I say, my mom's name was Jean Robinson, but I'm going to say Eunice. And she said she went to school one day and they start calling her Jean. I think I said it backwards the other time, but yeah, and she don't know why. Maybe it was her mom told them. I don't know. And that's why I said on the birth certificate, or the midwife spelled it wrong. Because you got to remember, a lot of them wasn't educated too. So they could have spelled it wrong. They could have put the wrong year, wrong month. So she wasn't sure 33, 34, 31, 32, but she always went by 30, 32 or 33. The great debaters. Yeah, I need to look at that. Seem like I've seen it, but I'm gonna go look at that. Seem like I saw that. I'll go look at it, and then we'll talk about that. But yeah, but see, everybody starts remembering about their past, about their grandma. Like I said, I talk to my grandma all the time on the porch. She told me when her first period came on and how she found out she was babysitting. And she said she woke up and she told whatever lady she was keeping, she told me somebody shot me, somebody shot me. She didn't know. So my grandma told me a lot of good stuff, even about working in the fields. How they talk about black people don't have hair lice. She said they used to lay a sheet down in the fields, sit on it, and they would pick hair lice out their hair. So, but yeah, but it is. And, like I say, educate yourself. All history books are not correct. You got to remember that. Statistics are not always correct. You have to remember that. Yeah, Rob, mine's been gone forever, Netta. They have been gone. I never met my father's grandparents. Always wanted to, never met them. Never met them. My father died in 1960, so I had to be 5 when he passed. So I don't even really remember him. And my grandma had to pass when I was I was 50. So I was 2 when my grandma passed. Yeah. So see, you remember all the years and stuff, like, when my cousins were born. It's like, there's good times. I remember my mom tucking us in bed just like anybody else. Giving us what is that? Anybody had turpentine and then they put a little sugar in it. Then they would heat it up. I don't know why they heat it, but kids back there got worms a lot. They got worms internally. I can remember this lady, Miss Turner. She was in our neighborhood. We all knew each other. She had a lot of kids, but there was no man there. And I can remember her cleaning a fish, and it was just full of worms. I can always see how stuff just stick in your mind. And I'm like, they gonna eat that. I can remember thinking that because, like I say, me and my sister, we were really blessed. We didn't have to go through that. So, yeah. But I'm here. What they say I'll be 67 in December. So, I mean, it was just a life that was. I had a good life, though. I would say I made it harder than what it should have been. I should have listened to my mom. You only make, I want to say, one wrong turn, and that just sets up your whole life. It ended well, nice. Where I'm at is what I'm saying, not ended. But if I would have took the turn she told me, who knows? So, but I made that wrong turn, and it took me into a lot of events that could have been worse. Let's put it that way. It could have been. It set me up. I got married to a single, then I ended up being a single mom. I had to work hard. But working hard is good because it got me to where I was. I got to retire at 57. So I must have did something right. I did something right. From that educated mama. That's where I got it from. That educated mama taught me well. And then my husband, he's like about 11 years older than me. So he has the budgeting mind. So that saved us too, saved me so I could retire early. And to me, this is one thing too. And look at me, almost an hour and a half. I need to go ahead and make me some salad. If you have a lot of debt, I'm going to say this. And I know a lot of people out there got a lot, get rid of it. I don't get rid of all that debt because that is a form of slavery. White, green, purple, or black. Get rid of that debt. When my kids graduated, I had $15,000 in credit card debt. And then that's considered even a little bit based on what's now. Okay. So, and I paid it all off. And once you pay it off, I guarantee if you pay it off, you ain't getting no more. You are not getting any more debt. Even if you have very little money, you got to find you a side hustle. And YouTube is it. You find you a side hustle. I don't even know how I got. Hey, Leanne, there's Leanne from the UK. Love her to death. I was supposed to have been off here 22 minutes ago. But and who was that? Armstrong just told me you go off on the deep end and you come back. As soon as Leanne came on, I forgot. But yeah, it's I mean, in this life, I will not see us fully united. It will never happen. But the only time I've seen something that happened, and I had a short glimpse, it was just a short little window. Short window. I had never seen this before in my life. And that's when George Floyd died. I have never seen, even though there were always whites, even in civil rights time, but I have never in my life seen that come together all over the world. However, short window, and guess what? It closed back. It closed back, people. It closed back. So we're starting all over again. Hey, oh my God, GBL. Let me tell you, this is a new friend of mine. Y'all need to go to his channel. GBL Type Betty. He has y'all should see what he did to this little church. Oh, Leanne, you gotta get GBL Type Betty on there, and your link will drop. I'm telling you, if you have not been there, you've been missing it. I just found him, and I'm not letting him go. Just like Leanne, I ain't letting you go. I ain't letting him go either. He has I'm not lying. This one of those channels I will be watching for sure. I can tell you that. And But yeah, and we get our blessings. And I tell people the best blessings that you can get is doing something for somebody. I'm gonna say that again, then I'm gonna end this. Doing something for somebody and don't tell. Those are the best blessings. You will get 50 times more than what you gave. I promise you. Do it. Try something. Try doing something this week. Run somebody playlist. Mail somebody something. And don't tell nobody. And see what happens. You'll get it all back. Plus more. Listen, you need to stop, Rob. It wasn't that bad. They ain't have to beat us that much. My mom didn't hit us that much. I didn't need it. And I was a hard head. Yeah, good karma is real. It's real. It's real. The more you give or expect, or not expect really, the more you get back. It always happens. So try to do that today for somebody. Do something for somebody and don't tell nobody. Best thing that could ever happen. Even if you gave somebody $1 million and don't tell nobody, I bet you'll get 2 million back. I don't know when, but you'll get it back. Okay, thanks everybody for stopping by. You see, I'm sweating to death now. Because I didn't turn on the fan. But okay, thank you so much. And please come back next week because we're gonna, start where we left off. And I'm going to find Patrick and beat him up. You learn to be slicker. No, you're not slicker. Oh, you're not slicker. Yeah, my kids were born in the 70s. So um I know about those X's for sure. And I have a millennial. So I got two, and they're different too. The Xer and the millennial thinking completely different from the same mama, but they do save very well, and they got a lot from me, and I'm surprised. So, okay, thank you, and I will see y'all next week at the same time. Bye bye. Thanks so much, everybody. Boy, I